Welcome back to the Maelstrom, ladies and gentlemen. We have another Warhammer 40k battle report for you today. 1500 points, Necrons versus Dark Eldar. We will be trying out the ATC mission again. We will not be doing it at the 1850 level, but we will be playing 1500 points. So we have 6 objectives. Hammer and Anvil is the deployment, with Crusade as our objective. We have 6 objectives, which are represented by Scarab Swarms. We have one here, one behind the building there, one here in the ruins, one here in the street behind the barricade, and another there behind the barricade. So those are the objectives. Hammer and Anvil. The Necrons will be on the right side. The Dark Eldar will be on the left. Necrons will be deploying first. We will be right back with the armies. First we have the Dark Eldar, 1500 points. Josh is going to walk us down his force.
So my combined arms detachment contains my Warlord, which is the Archon, and he has a power sword and a shadow field. And his Warlord trait was Towering Arrogance, so everyone within 12 inches of him will have Fearless for this game. And he is riding with 4 Grotesques in a Raider with Enhanced Ether Sails. Then for my 4 troops choices, I have 4 identical Warrior squads. They are 10 Warriors with a Shredder, and they are riding in Raiders with Enhanced Ether Sails. Then I have, for my heavy supports, 2 identical Ravagers with 3 Dark Lances. And then I have a detachment from Homunculus Covens, the Dark Artisan. I have a Homunculus with a Webway Portal, a Talos with Chain Flails, and a Kronos with a Spirit Probe.
Alright, so there you've got it, the Dark Eldar, 1500 points. Next up we have the Necrons, 1500 points. Some of the stuff's not hardly finished paint-wise, but we are running a Decurion detachment. First we have a Reclamation Legion, which has 2 squads of 10 Necron warriors. They are backed up by 2 squads of 10 Immortals with Gauss Blasters, and they're led by an Overlord with a War Scythe, no other war gear. To finish that formation off, we have 8 Tomb Blades with Shield Veins and Nebula Scopes. They are backed up by a unit of 10 Death Marks. Want to give them a try, just finished building them. We have a Destroyer Cult, which has 1 squad of 2 Destroyers, 2 squads of 1 Destroyer, 3 Heavy Destroyers, and a Destroyer Lord with a War Scythe. My Overlord is the Warlord, and he rolled Immortal Hubris, so he and everyone within 12 inches rerolls Morale, Pinning, and Fear tests. So that is the Necron half. You've seen the armies and you've seen the table. We will be back following the beginning of deployment. Alright, deployment is complete. Turn 1 is Night Fight. The Necrons are going first. The Dark Eldar have deigned not to seize. We rolled the numbers for the objectives. We have Objective 4 here, Objective 1 in the center, Objective 6 there, so that one will not count for Big Guns Never Tire. Objective 3 here, Objective 5 here, and Objective 2 in the ruins there. So the Dark Eldar have deployed their entire force here on the corner, other than the Talos, Kronos, and Homunculus squad, which are deep striking. The Necrons are deep striking the Death Marks. They have the Destroyers and the bikes set up on this flank, the Heavy Destroyers and the Immortals in the middle, and then a Warrior block on either flank to hold the objectives there. So Necrons are going first. We will be back following Necron turn 1. Necron turn 1 rolls to an end. A little bit of fidgeting by everybody. The bike shot up here to take tactical escalation for this objective. Destroyers fanned out across the street here with no targets in range. Dark Eldar were avoiding them intentionally. Heavy Destroyers showed them why they were dodging. Of course, they hit with all 3 shots, pinned with all 3 shots, got through the Jink and blew up the first Ravager there. So that will score first blood, and the Necrons took 4 objectives. The Warrior Squads took 2, the Immortals took 1, and the Tomb Blades took 1. Wait, no, that'll be 5, I'm sorry. Because I have 1 here with the Destroyers as well. Forgot about it. So, 5 points there and 1 for first blood. Dark Eldar response coming up. Dark Eldar turn 1 comes to an end. 1 Raider full of Warriors shot up here since their objective secured to take this one away from the Warriors. The other Raider shot to the flank, fired into the Heavy Destroyers to no effect. The rest of the army positioned here. 1 turbo boosted across, or made a flat out move rather, to take this objective. The rest moved here, fired into the box. The Ravager knocked 1 down that was out of cover to hold the objective. The rest stood strong, took no damage. Cannot fail a reanimation save still. Necron turn 2 coming up. Necron turn 2 rolls to an end. Everything has shuffled back around following the initial shooting. The warriors here, their raider was shot down by combined fire from the box, the destroyers, and the destroyers over here as well. They all fired into it. None of the destroyers could get it done, but the box, ignoring cover, shut it down. The guys fell out in range of the warlord because of his warlord trait. There's no pinning test required. The raider on this flank took shots from the immortals, took 3 penetrating hits and a glancing hit from 10 shots. Felled 2 of the penetrating hits, which shook it and destroyed the weapon. And the warriors inside failed their check to see if they were shaken by the hit. The warriors down here, the first block of immortals shot them and just blew their raider up. 5 guys survived the explosion, and the warriors here cut them down with Gauss fire. So the Necrons did achieve overwhelming firepower, so that's 2 more points to the Necrons in addition to the kill points. We will be back with Dark Eldar turn 2. Dark Eldar turn 2, they still got some fight in them, moving around to take the supremacy objective this turn. Brought the warriors in here and fired to bring down 1 bot. Should have got another 1 or 2, but they just got 1. Disintegrator fired from there to no effect. The other 2 squads of warriors moved up to take objectives to score supremacy, because he is holding those 2 and those 2, so that's 4 objectives to him. The Kronos, Talos, and Homunculus came in down here on the Webway Portal Deep Strike, took out 1 warrior with the Spirit Siphon, so not much damage there. The Death Marks did try to come into theoretically intercept, but they scattered onto the squad, mishapped, and went back into reserve. So that is the end of turn 2. Dark Eldar do achieve their objective, and the Necron response is coming up. Necron turn 3. Warriors moved back into the ruins here to isolate themselves, fired at these guys and did nothing. The 1 wound that he took is from the 2 destroyers. 1 jumped there, 1 jumped up there following the combat. They fired into these and put 1 hole in him. The heavy destroyer swung out into the end street, fired across and destroyed the Archon's raider and dumped them in the street, and then made an 11-inch move over this way. The Death Marks mishapped again, and he got to place them this time, so they got placed there, rolled a 1 to try to get back in this. Warriors advanced here to add their shots. Them and the Immortals managed to bring this raider down, and the Immortals managed to kill 4 of them. The other 6 were within range of the Archon, so they were fearless, and the Immortals failed their charge when they tried to make the charge there. Raider here survived the shooting phase. The Destroyers and the Destroyer Lord charged it. The War Scythe exploded it. 3 of the warriors died in the explosion, and they broke and ran away from this objective, giving it to the Necrons. And the box shot 7 of the 10 guys to death here, charged and destroyed the other 3 in melee, and consolidated back here behind the building to hold that objective. So the Necrons hold 5 objectives this turn for tactical escalation. The Dark Eldar turn is coming up. Dark Eldar turn 3 rolls to an end. The Grotesques moved up with the Archon, tried to make a charge on the Necron Destroyer Lord and his guys here, but failed. These guys fired up into the tower, hit this guy and put 1 hole in him. These warriors unfortunately failed their morale check again and continued to run. They fired on the box to no effect. The warriors here took 5 casualties from the shooting. The Spirit Siphon wounded 4 dudes and knocked all of them down. Then we lost another one to the Splinter Cannon. 4 guys were standing when they came into melee. We lost 1 to their melee attacks. Talos everything bounced off reanimation, and we made our leadership 9 check, so they're still around and have those guys plugged up. And the Necrons did not lose a unit, so no score for no prisoners. So Necron turn 4 is coming up next. Necron turn 4 rolls to an end. The Death Marks and the Warriors moved out of the corner. That objective is only going to be good for another tactical escalation. We're done otherwise. So they are advancing. Everything else swung out to the street and fired here. One squad of Immortals knocked down all 6 of these warriors, put them down for good. The Grotesques took the fire of my entire army and nobody died. We had 2 at 2 wounds and 1 at 1 wound when we charged because we were hitting them from every angle. Bikes, Destroyers, Destroyer Lord, Immortals with the Overlord all charged. We have a challenge going on between the Overlord and the Archon. He is the only one still standing. All of his Grotesques were cut down in that melee, but he stood strong because of his insanity, where he's got his fearless Warlord trait. So everybody else after that, the dog pile, there was no room. They consolidated away. So that is the end of 4 for the Necrons. And also down here we continue this combat. 1 warrior still survived, so we held him up in this run for his turn, 1 more turn. That is the end of Necron 4. So Dark Eldar response coming up. Dark Eldar turn 4 comes to an end. These fools fell their 3rd morale check in a row, continue to fall back. They shoot at the bikes to no effect. Then we went on to combat. Down here, the Homunculus and his buddies were able to lay that last warrior low and consolidate onto this objective to take the point for tactical escalation. The turn was Scour the Skies, but since I have no flyers, he gets tactical escalation this turn, so he scores a point there. Archon and the Overlord continued their duel. The Overlord took a wound from the Power Sword. The Immortals managed to find a hole in his shadow field with their bayonets, and then the Overlord's War Scythe laid him low and finished him. 2 squads consolidated away, so that is the end of Dark Eldar 4. Coming up, turn 5 for the Necrons. Necron turn 5 rolls to an end. The Dark Eldar are going to go ahead and call it there. The Heavy Destroyers put a shot in here. The rest of the army also fired, did a wound to the Homunculus between all their fire, but the Heavy Destroyers were able to instant kill him with a shot. The rest of the army down here fired on these warriors. All but one of them died. The last one fell off the table from his fallback move. The Necrons score 5 points there for tactical escalation, or rather, I'm sorry, 2 points there for supremacy. So the Dark Eldar are going to go ahead and call it with just the Talos and the Chronos left here in the corner. Give us a like on Facebook, give us a subscription on YouTube, and be sure to check out the links in the video below. The mission that we played today is updated. I will have that new draft in a link there, along with army lists, after action reviews, and all the other usual goodies that we have. As always, thanks for spending time with us today at the Maelstrom.